Hello friends, my name is Marines, and here's a new thing. I'll start by saying that I am for sure an emotional reader. I'm also an emotional eater and an emotional sleeper, and I tend to just have a lot of emotions in general. What I mean by emotional reader is that I pick things up and put things down and basically make all of my bookish decisions by how I'm feeling. That's why I do so terrible with TBRs and readathons or anything that puts me on a schedule or limits the choices of my feelings. With that in mind, I decided to start a new little segment called In the Mood For, in which I basically tell you about my reading mood, what decisions I've made based on that mood, and then ask for some suggestions. So today I'm going to be telling you about being in the mood for Middle-earth. I originally read The Fellowship of the Ring 1 year ago in August of 2014 and followed that up with The Two Towers in November. To capture my thoughts on the reading experience that first time around, I'm going to read you my review of The Two Towers. I finished it. That's all the review there is, just yeah, I did it. I never made it to The Return of the King. This year I saw one of something like Lydia's videos and I can't remember which one it was, so she'll forgive me, but if you follow her channel, which you should, you'll know that she talks about Lord of the Rings quite often. In this particular video she talked about the brilliance of the BBC audiobook adaptation, so I filed that away for the future. Next, enter the Bibliothon. I knew that I wanted an audiobook on my list of things that I was going to attempt to read that week, so I started asking around for people's favorite books, which is another one of the challenges, and Sam from Novels and Nonsense mentioned that The Fellowship of the Ring was her favorite. So I requested the BBC version from the library and was all ready to go for the Bibliothon, but I got it early and I got ahead of myself. I was excited to read it, to listen to it. I did that before the Bibliothon even started. Like Friday before the Bibliothon, I started listening to this and I was done by Sunday. It was after that that I just immediately got interested in listening to the unabridged version and also realized that if I wanted it to count for the Bibliothon, it probably should be the unabridged version, and I started listening to the unabridged version narrated by Rob Inglis. Yeah, that's back-to-back listening to audiobook versions of The Fellowship of the Ring. As soon as I started listening to this unabridged version, I decided that I also wanted to read along, so what I was actually doing was listening and reading at the same time so that I read 99% of the book while listening to it as well. I don't know how or why, but I just completely fell head over heels with the story. Suddenly, this thing that was once just an accomplishment to get through was a work for me to savor. The characters came alive, and like I said in my monthly wrap-up, I didn't even care about hearing about every damn tree and land and person and inhabitant. I started The Two Towers right after that, and I finished that in August as well. 2 weeks ago I was feeling a little bit icky, so I spent some time hanging out in bed, and while I was doing that, I decided to start watching The Fellowship of the Ring. I'm just incredibly obsessed right now, and I think a big part of it is because I didn't get it before, and now I do. It's like making up for lost time, and I know that I'm gonna ride this wave through the last book. I've never seen the last 2 movies either, so that should be a treat for me. I'm going to wait until I finish The Return of the King before then going back and watching the last 2 movies. And if I'm not burnt out by all of that at the end, then I'll move on to The Hobbit, which I've never read before. Sam Gamgee is my current favorite character, with Aragorn coming in a very close second place. I feel like maybe that might change, but I don't know. Sam is pretty fantastic. Boromir was a complete trip. I just found myself laughing at him, even though I felt bad for him. But as a counsel, he was like, I'm not here to ask for anybody's help, but if you guys wanted to give it, come on, Boromir. I'm just having so much fun with this. Okay, suggestion time. Normally this would be like, okay, I'm in the mood for this. What other books would you recommend that would fit that category? But because this is all Middle-earth, it's just those books. I do have 2 questions though. Number 1, I don't have physical copies of these books and I was wondering what your favorite editions were. I found a beautiful edition from the Folio Society, which I would love to own, but I can't until the Money Fairy visits me. So if you guys have editions that you love, or if you know where to find the Money Fairy, just let me know down in the comments. Number 2, now that I'm an official fan, I feel like I need some good merch. Something for my desk or my bookshelves maybe, a good shirt, I don't know. Do you guys own any Lord of the Rings merch? And if you do, what is your favorite? What have you seen that you think maybe I should invest in or I could look into or at least drool over on the internet? What merch would you recommend to me? And is it okay that I keep saying merch? That's it for me today. I'd love to hear your Lord of the Rings stories below. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Have you tried it? Are you intimidated by it? Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys soon. While watching the movie, I was struck with giggles at watching how creepy Saruman was being, and Gandalf was just like, la la la, let me tell you about the ring. Gandalf, honey, social cues.